Good morning. Welcome to another Theory Thursday. Today we're looking at a quick fretboard trick to help memorize where notes are on the fretboard. Okay? And how do you take a single shape, move it along the fretboard, and how does that help you visualize where notes are? What's the relationship, and does it change the intervals between your fingers and the strings? How's that help? We'll talk about it today. So I got my Timex Weekender on, black band. I got my black tie on today. And yeah, of course, as always, if you've been enjoying these, I love making them, as you know. Like and subscribe to stay in the loop on everything. And you already know about my new book, Beginner Guitar, The Aspiring Musician. It's out everywhere if you are interested. And I think that's it. So, without further ado, fretboard tricks. Let's go. Hello, welcome back to the whiteboard. Today we're looking at a fretboard memorization trick. Okay, just a quick tip and trick. I don't know if this will be as long as my normal videos, but just a quick way that will help you visualize the fretboard. Hopefully that'll help you memorize where the notes are, what the notes are, and how to find something where you don't know exactly where it is, okay? So let's start off with a chord that you probably already know, okay? Okay, does that look familiar? That's an E major chord shape. It's an open chord. We call it an open chord because when you play it, there are notes here, specifically the E, the B, and the E, that are open and ringing, okay? So how does this help us map out the fretboard, and how does it help us with other chords? Well, let's take a look at this. What are the notes we're actually playing here? Okay? I know this is an E, right? I'll write it up here. E. When I play this is the A string. I'm going 2 frets up, so it's 2 half steps. So this becomes a B. This is the D string, 2 half steps up. This becomes another E. Okay, this is the G string. 1 half step up is a G sharp. This is the B string and it's open. And then this is an E string and it's open. Okay, so those are the notes we're playing in an E major chord. E, B, E, G sharp, B, E. Okay, let's take a closer look at this. What are these notes in the context of an E chord? I know what notes we're playing, but what are they in context with the chord itself? So when I say, you're playing an E chord, what is an E note within the E chord? Well, that's what we call the root or the 1. Okay? So I'm going to put a little R here for root. A B. What is a B note in terms of an E chord? It's the 5th of the chord. I'll put a little 5 here. And I can write it better than that, I swear. 5. E, another root. G sharp. What is a G sharp in an E chord? It's the 3rd, right? Another B is the 5th, and then another E is a root. Okay? So in terms of an E chord, we know that it's spelled, we're just talking about a simple triad here. E, G sharp, B. That's an E major chord. When we play it on guitar, when we play this shape, I'm going to call it the E shape because we can move this wherever we want. We're playing root, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th, root. Okay? Now check this out. Let's say we use bar chords and our hand's strong enough to do it, and we move this thing, okay? And let's just say we move this thing all the way up to the 8th fret. Okay, so this is at the bottom of the guitar, fret 1, fret 2, fret 3. Okay, this is the 8th fret. Okay, we're going to bar this, and then we're just going to play our regular E. Okay, and this is one big bar. Okay, what chord is that? Well, I can tell you, it's a C chord. And what is in a C chord? How is a C major chord built? C, E, G. But what notes are where? I mean, you know the shape, you can move the shape, but let's say we're trying to learn how to solo. We're trying to find notes on the fretboard that we don't know exactly where they are. Well, we have the shape here, okay? And if you know what you're playing in terms of the chord, you know what notes are where in your shape. So it's exactly the same. It's the same shape, we're just moving it. This still is going to be a root. This still is going to be a 5th. This is going to be a root. This is a 3rd. This is a 5th. And this is a root. Okay? We've moved the shape, but the intervals and the relationship between your fingers and the strings stay the exact same. The relationship between your fingers and the strings and the notes and the chords stay the exact same if you're using the same shape. Okay? Notes change, obviously, because you're playing a whole new chord, but the relationship between everything stays the same. Okay? So what does that mean? That means this is going to be a root, so this is a C. This is a 5th, so it's a G. Here's another root, C. 3rd, right? E. 1, 3, 5. 5th, G, and root, C. Okay? So I know, no matter what chord I'm playing, if I'm using this E shape, wherever on the fretboard, root, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th, root. So, what does that mean? That means the E string on the bottom string, on the 8th fret, this is a C right here. This note you play is a C, right? 8, 9, 10. This is the 10th fret. This note on the A string, this is a G. Okay, and this is how you can start mapping out things, all right? Start from the outside. Start with your 2 E strings. That's going to be the easiest to memorize. And then work your way in, okay? Starting with the E's are most important because a lot of your chords are built off of the E because that's where you're going to put your root. And then the A string, I'd say, is second most important because if you're using the A shape, that's where your root is going to be, okay? So, just a quick tip, just to learn about how to map out your fretboard and start memorizing where certain notes are. But just the fact, knowing this concept is a big step forward as well. Knowing that you can move a shape anywhere you want, and obviously the notes are going to change because you're moving along the fretboard. But I'm going to say it one more time. The relationship between the notes, the interval, it all stays the same. Okay, no matter where you move it. It's always going to be a root, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th, root. So that means if I wanted to play an A chord, I could use this E shape, and I know that the 5th fret on the low string, E, the 5th fret is, let's say this is the 5th fret. That's an A right there. Boom. All of a sudden, we're playing A. We have an A. We have an E. We have another A. We have a C sharp. We have an E. We have an A. Okay? Relationship stays the same. So, that's a quick tip. I think that's enough for today. But, of course, if you have any questions, you know where to find me. I always read the comments. I love reading them. So you can put any questions down there. And hopefully you'll learn something. And we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.